Coming up on the channel today, something I'm always talking about in the videos is, hey, please leave us a comment or go over to our Facebook vinyl page and get involved in the discussion. Leave us suggestions for videos. The video for today comes directly from a viewer suggestion. Going to talk about 5 albums with awesome titles coming right up. It's Russ from the Infectious Groove podcast and vinyl channel. As I always say in these videos, you make sure to get involved in the comment section below. Feel free to hit the link and join our Facebook vinyl discussion group. To me, the community is the thing that matters most in these videos. And I've mentioned 1 or 2 times, hey, if you ever have an idea for a video or something you'd like on the channel, by all means, let me know. And more than a few viewers have provided us with some ideas and suggestions, and today's video is one of them. If you haven't already, and this is your first time on the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you always keep up with the 2 videos that we have every single week. And again, if there's a topic you would like to see on the channel, by all means, drop it below or hit that link and join our Facebook group. Drop it there, and I'll be more than happy to shoot videos on anything vinyl related that anybody wants to talk about. Today's video, again, comes from a viewer of the channel who said, hey, why don't you do a video on 5 albums with awesome titles? And they suggested in their initial comment one that I totally agree with, so we'll just start there. This isn't any sort of a countdown. I don't have these ranked or anything. I don't think you can rank album titles. I'm sure someone has, but I don't. These are just 5 album titles that I love for various reasons. And the one that the viewer suggested, that I couldn't agree with more, is U2's Achtung Baby, which everything about this album is so different than what U2 had done before. So much has been said about this record, I don't need to go on about it here. But just the title alone, of course, translated to English is Attention Baby, and for me, it just says a lot about what you're going to hear on the record. There's going to be a change. I need your attention here, and that's how I take it. U2 fans, if there's a story behind the title of the record that I don't know, by all means, leave a comment and let me know. But that's how I've always taken it. It's kind of like a listen up. We're about to do something which would go on to be revered is great, but at the very least, we're about to do something that's completely different, and we need your attention for that. So for me, I couldn't agree more with the viewer that came up with the idea for this video. Achtung Baby, awesome album title for indicating what's going to happen with the record. This next one for me is kind of a personal choice, one of at least a couple in here that for me the title means something personal to, and that is Run DMC's 3rd album, Raising Hell. This for me, I've talked about on the podcast before, I've talked about it on the channel before. This was a game-changing album for me, just opened my mind to so much more out there in music that I was not aware of when I was a kid and I heard this record. And everything about it, from being part of the people who brought rap music to the masses and quite the disruption in society that caused at that time, to some of the harder rock songs that are on this record, with of course rapping verses, but harder rock edge to them than a lot of what was going on in rap at the time. Again, it just seems so appropriate to me. Like, you put this record on and it's Raising Hell, so it's just a great title for the record, and the title track is great too. It's a Run DMC song you never actually hear many people talk about, and probably the hardest rock song on the record, but absolutely a great title for that record, Run DMC's Raising Hell. This next one is one that is a universally revered album. It's like Achtung Baby. I don't need to go on about the greatness of the record, but I personally just learned what the title of this record means within the past couple of years, and that's Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. And for whatever reason, I had never even thought about what the title of the album might mean. And over the past couple of years, I read a review or an interview with Brian Wilson, where he said something that really blew my mind on the title of the record, is that it's Pet Sounds is of course not the ridiculous cover that Capitol ended up putting on here, or it's not even referring to some of the animal noises that are on the album. He said that the title of the record came more from like cooing or affectionate sounds that you make towards someone you would have a pet name for. So we all familiar with the the term pet names, but he was more talking about pet sounds, and that's what he wanted the album to sound like, was loving sounds that you would make towards someone who you're affectionate with, which I think is just amazing. Like, it blew my mind to know that. Maybe this is common knowledge to everyone else, so I apologize if it is. If you're watching this video going, how did you not know that? I don't know, but I never even thought about it before until I read that. So for me, that upped the title of this record a huge amount. So Pet Sounds from the Beach Boys. The next one for me is a huge one, because I think it's one of the best titles of an album that you can get, especially for a greatest hits type package that half of it is. And that's Michael Jackson's History, because the title works two ways on this record, because the first 15 or so tracks of the record are history-making, earth-shaking, some of the biggest pop hits in the history of music, so that's all history. But the second half of the LP happens to be my personal favorite Michael Jackson album, and its History Continues, so it's all brand new material at the time. The album was released in 1995, but with everything that was happening with Michael Jackson at the time, that part of the record is capital H, capital I, capital S, and then lowercase T-O-R-Y, so it's his story, which for me is great. Again, someone may see this and go, yeah, so, but for me, I love that the album title works both ways. Like, here's everything I did in the past, and not only is history about to continue, but this is also my version of the story, or my side of things. So for me, Michael Jackson History, great album title. This last one, I don't know, might be my favorite album title of all time, if you can have such a thing. And this is not the original cover for this record. The Robert Williams painting that was banned isn't even what was supposed to be the original cover of this album. There was actually supposed to be a picture of the Challenger exploding that was proposed as the original cover of this album. Then they switched to the Robert Williams painting that many are familiar with. Then after that, settled on the cross, which was still offensive to some. Having said that, the title for Guns N' Roses' debut album, Appetite for Destruction, is just one of my favorite album titles of all time. This, for me, goes back to what I said about Raising Hell or Achtung Baby. If you have never heard GNR at all, and you put on this album, every sound that's on this record, to me, sounds like the descriptor Appetite for Destruction. Sure, there's Sweet Child of Mine. Think About You, I guess, could be considered more of a tender down moment. But, with things like It's So Easy, Night Train, Mr. Brownstone, of course, Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City, Rocket Queen, to me, all of those songs sound like the title of this record, Appetite for Destruction. So first things first, thank you so much to our viewers for doing things like this. When you throw out suggestions like this, I sometimes got to think on it and really come up with a great list, a list I feel is great. So I really appreciate that. It gets my mind going, and I love the interaction. So what do you think about my picks for 5 great album titles? What are some of your favorite album titles? If you have any more info on titles of these records, anything at all, get involved in the comment section below, or you can hit the link below and join our Vinyl YouTube page as well. Either way, as I always say in these videos, thank you so much for watching.